Thank you so much for coming today. Thanks for showing your support to Juana Tejada. Juana Tejada, a caregiver, denied a permanent residency. She was denied because she was told that she might be a burden to the healthcare system of Canada. She finished the requirement that Canada needs for her to become a permanent resident. She earned the right to stay, and yet she's continued to be denied of the right to stay permanently in Canada. Shame!
Like many Filipinos in Canada, Juana Tejada came here to work and pursue a better life. For 3 years, Juana has worked under the Live-in Caregiver Program from 6:30 a.m. to bedtime, caring for children and doing household work. And yet, the LCB does not merely force Filipinas into vulnerable working conditions, it also deems Filipinas expendable and deportable if they get sick. Juana Tejada is paying the bodily price of this exploitation. And so we stand here today to demand for permanent status for Juana. This means that we will not let the Canadian state consume and then dispose of our bodies. This means that we will not let the Canadian state own our hands, our legs, our backs, our lungs, our bodies. Denying Juana Tejada's status. While we are standing here for Juana's case, we cannot forget that we are fighting many fights. Juana's plight is tied to the plight of Mexican farm worker Hermelindo Gutierrez, who is here in the temporary farm workers agricultural program and is ill with kidney failure and slated to be deported. Many other Filipino caregivers and agricultural workers cannot gain access to health care because of their precarious status. Hermelindo and Juana are examples of the difficult plights of migrants in this country. With the recent passing of Bill C-50 and of ongoing raids, we must fight against the attacks on migrants who are left vulnerable in the factory, in the workplace, in the master's house, and in their own bodies. We are demanding for a permanent status for Juana Tejada. We are demanding that she has full access to medical treatment for her cancer. We are demanding that Juana and her family live a life of dignity and respect in Canada. Ang ating panawagan, hustisya para kay Juana. Hustisya para kay Juana at dignidad para kay Juana. Salamat.
The treatment of workers who are coming into this country who are being used to force down wages to create the kind of competitive society that the global corporations want, not what the working people of this country or any other country want. It's becoming harder and harder for working people to achieve their rights. And this is a deliberate attempt by the government to divide workers, to force down wages, and to take away the rights of workers. So in our fight for Juana, we're fighting for all workers. We're fighting for workers across this country. We're fighting for workers across this globe.
Canada pretends to be a country of human rights, of dignity, of respect. But where is the dignity and respect in having someone come to this country, giving us their labor, fulfilling their contract, and then when they need our care, they get expelled from our country? Where is the justice and dignity in that? Where is the respect for human rights in that? We're here today to say that we want a humane immigration policy. The federal government, when it passed Bill C-50, decided that it wanted a temporary, disposable workforce. It wanted to let corporations decide who gets in, how long they can stay, and that they would come here just as workers, not as full participants in our society. They would not be able to bring their families. They would not be able to live here with full rights. Is that the kind of Canada we want? No! We want working people to be able to come to Canada and yes, work here, get jobs, but be able to bring their families and be able to have full rights, full participation as landed immigrants and as Canadian citizens. I'm a member of Parliament from the New Democratic Party. We voted against Bill C-50 unanimously. And we want to stand in solidarity with migrant workers, in solidarity with Juana Tejada,
and in solidarity in defense of human rights.
My name is Connie Sorio, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the Independent Workers Association Home Care Program. I want to share a message that I got from Juana Tejada. She spent half of the day today in the hospital preparing for her treatment tomorrow, which is a 48-hour infusion. So she asked me if I could share this or convey this message to all of you, thanking you and appreciating the support and solidarity you have extended so far on her case. I also want to share the developments that happened in the last few weeks, 2 weeks in particular. Because of the pressure, the media coverage, CIC granted Juana an extension of her temporary resident status until December 10th. And after the press conference that was held last Friday, Immigration Canada phoned her lawyer and extended interim federal medical coverage. We appreciate those efforts, but we want CIC to take the next step. Grant her appeal for permanent residency under humanitarian and compassionate consideration. She deserved it. She fulfilled all the requirements under the Live-in Caregiver Program. She has the right to stay here. She has the right to be with us. She has the right to be given medical attention, medical care. Immigration Canada, the world is watching you. The press conference that took place last Friday was shown all over the world. And the message that you have given so far on how you treat migrant workers is embarrassing. It's a shame. You bring them in, exploit their labor, and when they become ill or damaged good, you send them back to the original countries. Where is compassion? What Becky has mentioned before, our posturing being a humanitarian, an international figure for human rights, that is farce if we treat our migrant workers the way we are treating now. We invite you, Immigration Canada, to sit down with us for policy recommendations to discuss policies that impact the lives of migrant workers who are here under the temporary foreign program.
And we've been able to already make victories for Juana. If we continue to come out on these streets, we continue to come out with our anger, with the people from our communities, we can rip this immigration program down. We can recreate it from the ground up as a program that works for people, for all people, people of color, for poor people, for working people, for disabled people, not just for the rich, not just for the corporations, not just for the North countries in this world. So let's come out again, let's tear this system down, and let's rebuild it from the ground up. Justice for all, status for all!
We'll continue to fight for justice. We will continue to coordinate with Juana's lawyer and other support groups until the final chapter of this case. Because we believe in Migrante that justice for Juana is justice for all. Justice for caregivers! Justice for Juana! Permanent residency now!
And I think what the Canadian people can do is that really look into the foreign policies, the immigration policies of the Canadian government and question it. As Canadian people, as the Canadians, as Canada, we benefit from the labor of these migrant workers. Meanwhile, the way we treat them is totally different story. So I think really it's important to see how these migrants help our economy. But on the other hand, how can we provide support and assistance? It's a lot of things that the community can do, individuals can do. In their own community, they could circulate the petition, they could contact their local MPs, talk to them, have a dialogue, ask for some assistance from the churches in terms of material support, financial support.